Just imagine a day that somebody calls and tells you a compromising image about you is circulating online. How do you feel at the time? Two things: confusion because you never participated in such a place or any event, and another is embarrassment because it's something that which is going to take a longer time to stop such a event because internet is a very big ocean. And just imagine, it is not the plight of one single individual at the present moment. It's the plight of thousands of individuals now whose images are manipulated and changed without the consent and superimposed on explicit content. So we are now standing on a volcano of misinformation, and that is what we are going to discuss. Welcome to the world of deepfakes, the darker side of artificial intelligence. A seemingly simple image can be made in an image which is going to be very terrible, horrible, which is going to mar one's life. And the technology is playing a big role in this. And today we are going to have a journey on criminology and victimology of deepfakes and AI. Before moving in, let me give a simple definition of criminology and victimology. Criminology is a science of criminal behavior, understanding crime, the roots of crime, the causes of crime, and then how the criminal justice agencies like police, the courts, and the prisons support and give justice to both the offender as well as the victims. Victimology is the other side of the coin, where we are looking from the victim's perspective, the victim himself or herself, why they become victim, and what are the impact of victimization, and how we are going to get that person out of that victimization and restoring to the original position. So in this case, we need to understand what is meant by deepfakes. So deepfakes or synthetic media developed by artificial intelligence networks, uh, the kind of image which is very synthetic of generational adversarial networks, and these images can be manipulated, videos can be manipulated, audios can be manipulated using this algorithm. And this becomes a big issue at the present moment because of the fact that people can send these images from anywhere and harm other persons anywhere. And now for variety of crimes, deepfakes are used. In fact, deepfakes were welcome in the initial times because educators thought that historical scientists can come and teach people. Then the movie makers, they thought that Alexander can come back or any other person can come back, and the people can view them in live. But the same technology has gone to the hands of illegal people, bad people, and now they are manipulating to their use. And that's where the deepfakes are now used for variety of crime purposes. So starting from blackmailing to exhaustion and even impersonation. So this technology in the hands of wrong people is going to create an havoc, and that is what we are going to look into how the criminology and victimology works in this case. So, in terms of cybercrime, there are variety of cybercrimes, but predominantly deepfake is used for misinformation or disinformation. And there is a case people would have read in the newspaper where a CEO was calling a subordinate and asked him to transfer $243,000 to an account which they thought it is real. But unfortunately, the CEO was not real. It is a deepfake, and the subordinate transferred within after a few minutes they found that this was not a real person, and with few samples, few voice samples, this has been done. Just imagine, thousands of our voice samples, thousands of our information is in social media. Just imagine if it goes to the wrong hands. So that is the problem. Next is the political disinformation. So a politician can be faked, and he can give some outrageous remarks against some other party or some other people, and people can believe that it's real, and this puts that politician in trouble and also the other people during the election time. So to develop these things takes a small time, but to explain this we need a lot of aspects, and deepfakes gives high rewards with low risk. In real time, if you want to commit a crime, you need to have high risk, because if you want to attack a bank, you have to make a lot of efforts. But now, very simple thing, that money 243,000 was transferred to that account, and it is very simple. So there is a low risk and high rewards. And second, because of the anonymity prevailing in the internet, you can see that these defects are circulating faster and faster, and people, they cannot be arrested because we do not know where they are. So in this context, we need to understand how these crimes happen, because we always look into the other aspect, the investigative aspect, but we have to look into the why aspect, and that is what we are going to discuss on the uh, theories behind that. So this theory, called as routine activities theory, is somewhere long back. It is 79, but still it has some relevancy. It has simple three parts. There is a motivated offender, there is a target, and there is a lack of capable guardian. So when there is a convergence of these three aspects, crime do occur. So in real time, just imagine you are alone in some space where there is a motivated offender. So for example, in Sri City, in the corner, you are standing at midnight around 10. You are alone, but there is a motivated offender, and there is no policing, there is no friends to support you. Then naturally, crime has to happen, crime will happen. That is what routine activities theory says. Same goes to the deepfakes. When you found that where the motivated offender is always there online, there are people waiting to pounce on us online, because that's a wild west which we have not understood. We think that it is a good space. Of course, it's a good space with good people. Same bad people also are there. So the next is the target. So we are the target, and our photos are there, our voices are there in, in many of the social media platforms. And third, the lack of capable guardian. Policing is an activity which is very limited. So police cannot be present everywhere. So that is what we are making a strong, rigid security systems. But still, in the seemingly growing internet, the faster phase, we cannot hold things where there is a kind of a situation where there will be no guardian other than ourselves. So that's what the routine activity theory says, where the convergence of trifecta, the lack of capable guardian, then the motivated offender, and the victim, the target, yourself or others, happen, then crimes do happen. And that happens online too. The next is my own theory called as space transition theory, which I developed in 2008. So this theory is very simple, where I find that crimes happen because people behave differently in different spaces. So when people move from one space to another, they may behave differently. That's the crux of the theory, where I make a postulate: persons with repressed criminal behavior may commit crime online, which they may not commit in the real world because of their status and position. So in the internet, you are anyone. You can be anyone. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be anyone, and you can do anything without any control. That kind of anonymity internet gives, and that's where my theory explains where the disinhibition effect, where when you go online, you say that it is not me, that it is somebody else. Same thing happens online for any person. So even an innocent person, who is not going to do anything in the real world, may spend some time to create deepfake images against their enemies, or even if there is a boyfriend girlfriend issue, there is a boyfriend who want to take a revenge, he may create an image and he can send to many people. So that's the danger that we are looking into, the deepfakes, where it is not only in the hands of criminals, but it is in the hands of the good people, but they may turn criminal when they go online. And that is what my theory speaks about. Ultimately, we have to consider one person, that is the victim. So the victims are the people who are the forgotten entities of the criminal justice system, and who are the forgotten entities of any kind of a place. And these victims silently cry. They cannot tell anything. Sometimes they cannot come outside and say. And in case of deep fakes, the women, especially who are victimized, they come under pressure, the social stigma, and the kind of a trauma they undergo, and the kind of helplessness situation where they cannot explain themselves why this happened. I didn't do anything. I didn't put my image somewhere. I didn't do anything wrong, but some other videos emerged or anything. and there is a lack of legal recourse for them, because you see the laws related to deepfakes are only developing now, because there is a big gap between the technology and the laws are somewhere past century, but now the technology is very faster. That's why the one legal recourse for the victim is a very, very difficult thing. And another important point is that where the victim is also again victimized by the system, the criminal justice system. When he or she goes to the police may not understand typically what the victim says, because policing is again another one century ahead. Then we have moved, but still the technology, and there is a gap between the laws and the system, and that's why victims are victimized further even, and we call it secondary victimization. So what is the difficulty? Why deepfakes are getting harder and harder day by day? Why we are not able to control it or able to investigate it? First thing, anonymity. As per my space station transition theory, we have already discussed on how anonymity plays a very big role. And because of that, also criminals use encrypted systems and also dark web to disseminate the images. So nobody can go into deeper and deeper, and many technocrats are sitting in the audience. It's very difficult to go to the dark web and find out how this image has emanated from where and who was the reason for that. So that is another important thing noted. And jurisdictional issue is a big problem, because deepfake technology distribution in terms of fake issues are a global problem. So it can come from Korea, it can come from Nigeria, it can come from USA, anywhere it can emanate and get distributed. But one country can make it a crime, but other country may not. That happened in the case of I Love You virus, where it emanated from Philippines and it destroyed many of the computers in the world. But then Philippines itself did not have a law on cybercrime. I'm talking about somewhere a long time back. But still, you see the development of technologies like deepfake is even much worse than those period, because this it cannot be stopped in a very one single law or anything. Lack of evidence is a big problem, where the evidence analysis is done by the forensic tools, even though the modern technology provide forensic advanced tools like the image manipulation, how it is, the lighting, everything. They are able to check, but still the technology is advanced. So one step, if the forensic people are moving, the another step the technocrats is moving, and next the images are becoming more better and better, and also the quality is becoming better. So it is very difficult for forensic people even to understand how the difference between the fake and the real video. So what are the solutions? The solutions lies first in technology itself. Technology has created this crime. Technology should solve it, because technology has its loopholes, but also technology has its advantages. So people should think wisely to create softwares, to create some kind of solutions in the technology itself. And also social media platforms should integrate softwares or components to analyze this particular deepfake, because they are the people who are sitting and we are the people who are uploading. So we don't have any control over our own images or our own ideas. So people who are in the software field, or especially the social media giants, should control that. Two is the laws and regulation, which are very far from the advanced technology. So this gap should be minimized, where the laws and the technology should be in one proper line, and people should understand that laws can punish people, because there is no fear in the online world that people will be punished. You would not heard much cases where cyber criminals are punished compared to the real world criminals, and that gives them more ego boosting, that they will do anything using technology. Next is public awareness. So it's a big lacunae, because technology has grown from one step to another. So 20 years back, we used a small phone, then it became smart. Now it is becoming smarter and smarter. We are becoming dumber and dumber. The more the phone smarter, the more we are dumber, because we do not know what is happening in the back end. We only know what is happening in the front end. That is the user interface only we are seeing. And many people, we give download the app and then we give yes to them, just like we say yes to wives, right? Hmm. We don't read the clauses and the condition, but they take all the data, all things, and then they manipulate. And that is how the public awareness is very key component in this particular case. So call to action. So this cannot be controlled by one individual or one group. It's a multifaceted problem. It's a hydra-headed monster. So criminologists, victimologists, lawyers, lawmakers, technocrats, and common people and students or anybody should come together to create awareness and to stop this problem. So earlier days also people say don't believe anything what you see in eyes. Now the same thing happens that you cannot believe what you see in your own eyes, whether this is real or fake. Technology is not inherently evil or good. Technology has nothing. It's a very simple plain tool where it goes to the good people, it becomes a good technology. Goes to the wrong people, it becomes a bad technology. So a good technology can be exploited by good people, but the same can be exploited by a bad people to exploit criminally another good people. So that is the biggest problem we are facing now, and we need to collaborate together. This particular quote was 1963 in Alabama by Martin Luther King Jr. And you can see that how relevant it connects with deepfakes now. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single government of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. So people are aware of butterfly effect. Same thing happens. So don't think that deepfake is a problem of Koreans, a problem of Americans, or problem of Indians. It's a universal global problem, and we should see that this particular technique should be exploited only for good purposes and not for bad impulses. Thank you.